Hello and happy Tuesday, everybody. This is DadPooL's Discussions. I'm your host, the one and only DadPooL. We are here for day 24 of DadPooLoWeen. Crazy to think that next Tuesday is Halloween in 2024. It's right around the corner. We're just right there. We can see it on the horizon. Crazy. This year just flew by. I'm kind of thankful to get this year over with, to be honest. But again, welcome to DadPooL's Discussions, and DadPooLoWeen during the month of October. 31 Days of Horror. Now, I just want to be clear so everyone watching or listening later that the movies that I'm reviewing each day, don't think of it as like a list type deal, whereas 31 might be the worst movie on the list, and we get the day or day 1 is the worst on the list, and then day 31 is the best. These movies are not rated by any means. There's no thought. These are just movies that I watch during the month of October, and this is what I feel like watching today. So just consider that. I know there's excellent channels out there right now doing a top 100 essential horror. Go check that out. Great list. Those lists are more data driven, I think, the way he was explaining yesterday. I don't want to misquote, but there's a lot of other channels that are doing Halloween lists. But like I said, these are movies that I'm watching that I enjoy, that either have an attachment to my youth, or I really enjoy the film and I want to talk about it with you guys. So day 24, and if you can't guess by the avatar, we're talking about Carrie. 1976, Sissy Spacek. Such a groundbreaking movie, and a movie that still lasts and endures almost 50 years later. I mean, this movie holds up. It's outlasted its sequels, its TV series, and even an attempt on Broadway. This is a movie that you don't necessarily need to be in October to watch. You can pop it on in June. You can pop it on in January. It's that good of a movie that it can be an all year round watch. But again, this is what I was watching today, so we're going to talk about the plot briefly. We're going to touch on some of the sequels and how they fared. We'll touch on the cast. I'll show you some clips, or not clips, but some pictures, some still images from the movie, and then we'll wrap it up. So this movie came out November 3rd, 1976. It's about an hour and a half or so long, a little longer. It's directed by Brian De Palma, legendary director, based on a novel by Stephen King. And oddly enough, this is Stephen King's first book novel to be adapted to the big screen, to film. So it's, and just think of all the movies based on Stephen King books there have been. Cujo, Firestarter, The Dead Zone, Shawshank Redemption, The Green Mile. I mean, the list goes on and on. Stephen King, The Shining. I mean, we have so much content from Stephen King, and when done properly, it turns into a great adaptation. And Carrie is an example of that. Little different ending from the book, but Stephen King approves it. So you should as well. But if you haven't read the book, it's a great read. And if you don't like reading, you can find it on audio form. And maybe when you're taking a long drive, or you're working out, or just kind of just relaxing, maybe cutting the grass or something, pop it on and give it a listen. Great story. So this movie, the budget was around $2 million, and it did about 34 at the box office. So huge success. So much success that there was two Oscar nominations. One for Best Actress for Sissy Spacek for Carrie White, and then supporting actress Piper Laurie for her mom, Margaret White, which, rest in peace, Piper Laurie. She just passed away about 10 days ago. So thank you. And I know this is a movie that she was reluctant on doing because she hadn't done film for about 10-15 years, and she chose to take this role as Margaret White. And it worked. I think it worked out pretty well. Yeah, this movie is fantastic. I could watch it 20 times a day if I could. And so let's talk about the plot. So Carrie White is a shy 16-year-old who lives with her mom, who's like a real religious freak, and she's very unstable. Her name's Margaret. Carrie is a loner, and she's bullied by her peers. When Carrie experiences her first period in school, she panics, having never been told about menstruation or anything like that, because her mom thinks it's devilish and dirty and it's a sin. So she's unaware of a lot of teenage, female, issues in the world. So she has no clue what to do. So she's freaking out in the shower. All her classmates are ridiculing her, throwing tampons at her and telling her to plug it up, and it's just it's a scene that it could still happen I could still see it happening in school in the present time, because kids are just badass these days, and you see enough bullying videos, and it's just unreal. But Miss Collins, who's the gym teacher, she kind of calms her down, tells her to relax, brings her to the principal's office, and they let her go home for the day to kind of just unwind, relax. She gave her like a week off of gym just to kind of, take a break and adjust to this new phase in her life that she's never heard about, and she's not known. So that just adds to more to her list of stress, along with these abilities that she's slowly discovering with herself. And again, she gets home, and her mom tells Carrie that her menstruation was caused by sin, and then locks Carrie in a prayer closet to pray for forgiveness. It's just a very intense scene between mother and daughter. And prayer closet, that's, again, it must be something with the time, because a lot of movies reference prayer closets as like a timeout room, to where this is where you got to go to cleanse yourself and make yourself holy again. You got to be locked in these prayer closets. And her mom was just way over the top of this. So we go to a spot at school where Miss Collins is reprimanding all of the girls that were tormenting Carrie, punishing them with a lot of exercise, threatening to stop the prom if they continue, harassing Carrie and just tormenting her, which they seem to want to do on a daily basis. Carrie's longtime bully, Chris, she refuses to do any more exercise, and Miss Collins says, "Okay, you're kicked out of prom," and everyone else is like, "We're gonna do the exercises because they want to go to prom. It's a big thing for these kids." So Chris is kicked out. She's upset, and Chris is played by Nancy Allen, and she's been in a lot of memorable roles. She was in Poltergeist 3. She was Lewis in RoboCop 1 and 2. She's been in a lot of like B-rated horror movies, lower budget horror movies. She has a pretty good career, TV. So she starts to plot vengeance against Carrie. Chris and her boyfriend Billy, who is played by John Travolta, a very young John Travolta. I believe it was his first film role. So they break into a farm and kill a pig to drain their blood into a bucket, which is going to be used at a later scene at the prom to seek the ultimate final revenge against Carrie, to get that final humiliation. Meanwhile, Sue, who's played by Amy Irvin, she's more of a remorseful classmate. She asks her boyfriend, who's very popular, school jock, good-looking guy, Tommy Ross, played by William Catt, who is from the Greatest American Hero TV series, and you might know him from the movie House, which I ironically just watched last night. It was on Pluto TV. Pluto TV, again, has been playing a lot of great horror movies, a lot of cult classics, and a lot of 80s movies. A lot of them being just horror, which is really fun stuff. They had Stuff on last night. Killer Clowns was on last night. Wishmaster, which I just watched the other day, was on again. So props to Pluto TV. So Sue courses and asks Tommy to invite Carrie to the prom, which he does. Carrie's reluctant at first. She thinks it's more of a prank, but he keeps insisting that it's a genuine offer. He wants to go. Carrie then discovers she has telekinesis. All the events that she has performed, knocking over an ashtray, breaking out a light, knocking the kid off a bike that was picking on her on the way home from school. Like, she knows that she has something seriously going on inside, and it comes back in full force at the end of the movie. Despite her mom just being totally against her going to the prom, Carrie prepares for the prom. She's excited. She's made her own dress. She's trying on makeup for the first time, and she's just really excited about this, which is good for her because she's Sissy Spacek. She's a great looking woman, and in this movie she played a 17-year-old and she was 25, so she definitely looked great for her age, and even as she got older, she looked fabulous. All these actors and actresses, if you look at them today, they haven't aged a bit. PJ Souls still looks like she's fresh off of Halloween and fresh off of this. Nancy Allen looks great. She was in that RoboDoc documentary about RoboCop. John Travolta looks amazing. I mean, everyone just looks fabulous. So Margaret, her mom, sees Carrie's telekinetic powers, and she proclaims that she's a witch. Well, I don't say witch. It kind of came out weird. Her mom just thinks she's, a child of Satan now, and that she should just stay home and be isolated and not have a life, which is not what she wants. She forces her mom to lay down as Tommy's there to pick her up for the prom, and she's constantly looking down, and you can hear throughout the film the Psycho theme, that little 4-string note that comes through, the e, that comes through a lot in this movie, and it was referenced in a little bit of behind the scenes trivia that I'll be talking about. Not trivia, but like behind the scenes, like just extra about the movie, that the Psycho theme was used a lot throughout this film. You can hear it prominently in a lot of scenes, so look for that as well. And I did Psycho as one of my movies early on for DadPooLoWeen. So during prom, Chris and Billy hide under the stage while the other conspirators switch ballots to ensure that Carrie wins the prom queen title. And as Carrie stands on stage with Tommy, finally beginning to feel like she's being accepted by her peers, Sue realizes that Chris and Billy have a plan, tries to intervene. Miss Collins spots Sue, and thinking that she is up to no good, throws her out of the prom. At that moment, Chris and Billy pull on the rope from under the stage, which is attached to a bucket above Carrie and Tommy. And boom, the blood falls all over Carrie. She's doused in pig's blood. The empty bucket falls, hits Tommy in the head. He faints. He's out of it. The crowd is in awe. They're shocked. They're speechless. But in Carrie's mind, they're all laughing at her because she's hallucinating. She thinks that everyone's mocking her. Then her mom, you hear her mom, her line that they're all laughing, they're all going to laugh at you, is playing over and over again. But it's just in Carrie's mind that she thinks that people. So she starts using her telekinesis to like close the exits, injure all the students, use the hose from the fire for the water, and spray people down and knock people over, electrocutes people, starts a fire. I mean, and then Miss Collins is crushed by a basketball backboard. And that's just, like I said, after she electrocutes her principal and teacher. Then the gym gets set on fire. And then we see her exiting the gym, sealing the door behind her, trapping the rest of the staff and classmates to burn and perish. As Carrie walks home, we see Chris and Billy in the car, and Chris attempts to run her over, but Carrie causes the car to flip and explode just at the last second, just by her turning her, making a little head nod, eye raise. Boom, the car flips over, explodes, kills Chris and Billy. After Carrie gets home, gives herself a bath, her mom reveals that Carrie was conceived when her drunk husband Ralph assaulted her, an act that her mom shamefully admits she enjoyed. She stabs Carrie in the back with a kitchen knife. Carrie then sends the knives flying towards her mom, killing her. Then she destroys her house and perishes. Sometime later, we see Sue, who is the only survivor of the prom, has a nightmare in which she goes to lay flowers on the charred remains of Carrie's home. Upon the remains stands a for sale sign, vandalized in black paint, with the words "Carrie White burns in hell." Suddenly, Carrie's bloody arm reaches from beneath the rubble and grabs Sue. At that moment, she wakes up screaming as her mother tries to comfort her. Yes, a little bit different than the book ending, but nonetheless a fantastic film from start to finish. Not only character wise, the way it's shot with the split scenes, the music, the red filter at the end, um, just a perfectly great movie that holds up and made in 70, I mean, come out in 76. It looks like it can come out in 2020, 2016, 2020. It's very, again, like it holds up quite well uh, to to current mainstream horror movies. Now they did try to reboot this movie, and they also remade it as well. So the sequel came out 23 years later. It's called The Rage Carrie 2. Um, wasn't a bad movie. It did serve, like I said, did serve as a sequel. It had Sue from the first movie. She survived, played by Amy Irving, and she's a guidance counselor now. Um, and the lead that plays Rachel Lang, I can't think of the actress's name. It's Emily Emily Burgle or something. I think Emily Burgle. Yeah, she plays Rachel Lang, which is Carrie White's half sister, because her true father, her real father, is Ralph White, which is Carrie's father, the one who assaulted, and as a result, Carrie came about from Margaret. So I love how they carried that on. They also went back to the scene of the 76 prom where the school burned, auditorium gymnasium burned down. So that was a good revisit. Um, the story could have been better, but at least there was some connection to the first movie, which is hard to say, hard to do with a lot of movies that do come out and have sequels so long after the original. Then there was a TV film that came out in 2002. I don't recommend it. I remember watching it about a month and a half ago. When I use Pluto a lot. I watch Pluto a lot, and when it said Carrie, I'm thinking, oh god, I'm gonna watch Carrie. I'm gonna watch the 1976 movie, and I'm watching it like, this is not Carrie. And then I find out it's the 2002 like made for TV movie, which came out, premiered on NBC in like, 2002, November 4th, 2002. It wasn't that good. I don't recommend. I mean, give it a watch. You can get your own opinion on it. But again, when you're comparing it to the original, it's kind of hard to be on that pedestal. And then they did a full fledged remake in 2013 with Chloe Grace Moretz as Carrie White and Julianne Moore as her mom, Margaret. I know people really hated this movie, and to be honest, I love this version of Carrie more than I like the TV version. I thought the movie was updated, obviously for the times, but you still had that. Chloe Grace played that character so well. She had the shyness to her. She had the look, the innocent, you know, virginal girl. Um, and the events played out very well, and it's on par with the 76 movie. If I had to rate the four movies that came out, I'd go 76 1, surprisingly Carrie 2013. Then I'd watch the remake, the sequel. Then I'd watch the TV series if I really wanted to. There was a couple attempts at Broadway, and then also, if you're a fan of Riverdale, I think there was an episode of Riverdale where the cast, as part of their performance, they did a Broadway version of Carrie. I have yet to see that. I was just reading about it, so I'm curious to see how that. If anyone's watched that, let me know. I've never watched that episode of Riverdale in my life, so I have no idea how that episode went. But I'm definitely gonna look it up now that I saw that. So that was pretty cool. I can only imagine, with being a CW show, what they were able to get away with as far as how much blood, if they had any blood, with the ending scene, how they did it. So I'll definitely have to check that out. But what are your thoughts on Carrie? Not just as a movie that came out in '76, but as a whole. What are your is it something that you enjoy? Have you seen it before? Would you watch it again? Let me know in the comments. I'm just dying to know what you guys think. So again, let's talk about some of the behind the scenes and some just some extra notes about the film. So in the last scene of the film, Amy Irving, her outburst is so terrified, which her real life mother, which is Priscilla Pointer, which is her mother. She plays her mother in the film, and she's her mother in real life. Terrified her so much that when they were filming it, she screamed out Amy instead of screaming out Sue, because she had never seen her daughter so hysterical that it made her call out her daughter's real name. And obviously they had to do a retake. When speaking at a book event in Fort Myers, Florida in 2010, Stephen King recalled that he was paid just $2,500 for the movie rights to Carrie, which may seem like a pittance, but he has no regrets. I was fortunate enough to have that happen to my first book. He was so excited to have his movie adapted to film. Like I said, it was the first one ever among hundreds that are out right now. The dizzying camera shot during the prom scene between William Katt and Sissy Spacek was achieved by them on a platform spinning in one direction while the camera was being dollied in the opposite direction. And that shot just seemed to go on. And to be honest, it did make me dizzy in real life watching it. It's again, just the stuff that De Palma does puts him apart from other directors. Just the little things. Let's see here. So Sissy Spacek wasn't the first person considered for the role of Carrie White. That was actually Amy Irving was set to play Carrie, but Sissy Spacek's husband, art director Jack Fist, convinced De Palma to allow her to audition, which ultimately she got the part, and Amy got more of a side character. So that was would have been a whole different movie if Amy Irving was Carrie White. Let's see here. The prom scene took over 2 weeks to shoot and required a total of 35 takes. Again, there was a lot to do with that prom scene, and I can see why a bulk of the shooting would take up the final 15 minutes of the film, just from that one scene alone. There's so much going on. So yeah. And the last thing I want to mention, Edie McClurg, who plays Helen. She's also been in Ferris Bueller's Day Off as the secretary and then she was in Planes, Trains, and Automobiles as the rental car clerk. She had no dialogue in the film at all originally. Everything that she said was improvised. So Brian De Palma was completely okay with that, and you obviously see her role in the film was not just a silent stand-in, or not stand-in, but like a silent back character. She had some dialogue, and that was not scripted. And it, again, just little unknown things about the film. And the last thing that I'll touch on before I start to wrap this up is John Travolta. I mentioned that this was his first major film. He was filming Welcome Back, Kotter when he was on a lunch break from that show while filming to audition, and he was dressed as Vinnie Barbarino. That just shows you the talent that he has to be able to pull that off on a whim, to just show up on a lunch break and win over the role. That's quite amazing. So again, I come to you guys. What are your thoughts on Carrie? I could talk about this movie for all night. It's one of my favorite of all time. It's something, again, I never get bored of. I watch repeatedly, no matter what season it is. It's if it's on TV, if it's on an app, I'm putting it on. I'm watching it. It's that good. So let me show you some stills from the movie that I was able to pull. Here we got John Travolta. Look at how young. And he hasn't aged. This is back in 7. This is back in 75. So almost 50 years ago. And he still looks great. It's unreal. And then we have Carrie and her mom. It's a great photo right there. Again, we just lost Piper Laurie about 10 days ago. Here's Carrie covered in blood. She didn't change her clothes for like 2 or 3 days for this scene. She let the blood dry, and she didn't care. She was committed to this role, committed to this character, committed to this scene. And she slept in these dirty, bloody clothes until the shoot was over. So that's commitment. And I think this image is really cool. Look at, she's just kind of like peeking out. Such a good movie. Such a good movie. And then here's some AI pictures. Again, I always like to do them for every movie that I watch. So here's me and Carrie's peeking over my head. She's like, what? Then I have a picture of me at the prom. Deadpool's covered in blood. And then this one right here. Another scene where it's covered in blood. So which one of those are your favorite? Like I said, Bing AI is really good. I like to use that to make any images that I associate with the movie that I'm reviewing. So speaking of reviews that I'm doing, coming up in November, we'll be doing DadPooL's Discussions, Horror Then and Now, where I'll be comparing and contrasting original horror movies versus the remakes and reboots. And maybe Carrie might be on this list, I don't know. But the first movie on the list is Hellraiser. So we have Hellraiser 87 versus Hellraiser 2022. And if you want to be on the show to discuss this or any future episodes, if there's a movie or franchise that you want to talk about, reach out to me. Let's make it happen. And then in December, I'll be doing a 25 Days of Christmas Horror. just like I'm doing for DadPooLoWeen. I'll be reviewing a holiday slasher and breaking it all down. Most of them will be a first time watch. I have the list together, and I'll be working on those videos very soon. So again, go into the comments, and while you're scrolling down to the comments, hit the like, subscribe, the share, turn that notification bell on so you know when the rest of the DadPooLoWeen videos come out, the Horror Then and Now videos come out, and then the Christmas videos come out. Also, I want to know what you guys think. I want to maybe change my logo up a little bit. So what do you think of this logo? Do you guys like that one? Or do you like this one? Let me know in the comments. Thinking about changing those as well. So those are one of my two options. But again, today was day 24 and we were talking about Carrie. I just want to thank everyone for stopping by, for if you're gonna catch us on a rewatch at a later date, make sure you hit that like button and subscribe. And and tonight for the 24th, all you Fortnite players, Michael Myers is coming to the item shop, so we are finally getting a Michael Myers skin. So check that out. 8 p.m. Eastern is when the new item shop comes out. And the leaks have been out there, so we all kind of know what it looks like. He's got like a pumpkin back bling, and I think he might even have the theme song as an emote. But look for that tonight. But before I go, I just want to say, go watch a movie. It's a perfect month to check something out, check something new out. A lot of apps out there that are free: Pluto TV, Tubi, Freevee. If you have access to Netflix, Paramount Plus, Max, Shudder, so much going on with horror. Go watch a movie and hug your loved ones. And until the next video, I'll see you guys tomorrow. Have a great night. Love y'all.